40 years of slavery, 160 years of Jim Crow, 60 years of segregation, 8 years of Barack Obama. And on this February, my message is even more important now than it was before. And we just started adding millionaires to the ranks. We just started adding big business owners to the ranks. I grew up in a city with 100,000 people. You have 10,000 in yours. And my message is even more important now than it was before. So everybody all right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So here's what I want to do. You got my time. Charlotte on Monday. Boston on Tuesday. Northern Virginia on Wednesday. My mom this morning. You all this evening. Tomorrow I kind of get to relax. So you got my time. All right? I want to hear from a few of you what troubles you as it relates to career and professional development. And then we're going to talk about that. And we'll talk about some other things. So I want you to treat the room like family. We're not in no tomb. We ain't no mummies. Ain't nobody wrapped up in this joint. Talk.
I'll kick it off, Torin. I want you to hit on the branding. I mean, it's huge. It's relatively new, especially some rural areas. So I want you to give everybody an idea of, especially the younger folks, how do you start to prepare yourself and present yourself as a brand?
Awesome. What else? What else is challenging you professionally, conversationally, in the workplace, in your leadership position, on your resume, in an interview? What's challenging you? Remember, we here to push.
I say ex-felon.
Ex?
Yeah, ex-felon.
Write this down. 70millionjobs.com. Is that all right? If I don't say nothing else, you got 70millionjobs.com. Ex-felon. What else?
Overqualified.
Overqualified. What else? Age. In a different direction. That's interesting.
Racism.
Who said that?
I did.
You and I are not going to get along tonight. You're not going to like what I say about this.
Sure.
I want you to know that I do it out of love, right?
All right.
What else?
It's interesting to put in brackets, because when you sign something in brackets, that means it doesn't exist. So that's a pretty good thing that you just did there.
What else? What else?
A long time out of the workforce.
Say it again?
A long time out of the workforce.
Time out. Okay. Yeah. What else?
Knowledge.
In what way?
Knowledge of elevating. Knowledge of self. Self-premise. Self-being.
One more.
Selling advertising.
Experience.
Inexperience. Waiting.
Who's waiting?
All right. So as we begin to talk through some of these, you want me to add some more? I'll most certainly add them. So I've been doing this recruiting thing for like 19 years. 20 this July. Pretty good at it. Pretty good. When I started doing recruitment, I started recruiting individuals that were doing outside sales in telecommunications, companies like AT&T, MCI, Sprint, so many of the others. And what I noticed in 1998 when I started, that there were no people of color, African Americans, in many of those positions. Positions that had a base salary of 50 to 75K, where when you did what they told you to do, you would double your salary. So you'd make somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 a year. Move from that to doing strategy. So now they allow me to come in and evaluate all of their recruiting and help them as it relates to diversity and inclusion. What does that mean? It means the organizations that I work with want more people that look like us. That's what they want. And they have me to come in because unfortunately, they don't know where to find you, or they don't feel like you exist. One way or another, we got to bridge that gap. So for a lot of them, when you look at Silicon Valley, which happens to be the one in the news the most, they'll say there's a shortage of talent in the pipeline. And in some ways, they're absolutely correct. See, Jamal, I told him when he asked me to come speak, I said, listen, we're not really going to play with the game, we're going to tell the truth. So here's the truth. HBCUs, you know what that stands for?
Historical Black Women.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knows. HBCUs, everybody know what that stands for?
Yes.
We pump them up, we want them. Absolutely. Absolutely, we want them. But the way that they are educating our young kings and queens, it doesn't align with what the companies are looking for. So they graduating, but what they have on their diploma and that syllabus, it ain't lining up with what they want. You can get mad about it, or you can correct it. We can make the syllabus match what the employer is looking for. If you own a business, are you hiring me because I'm black, or are you hiring me because I am qualified and prepared to do the work and can deliver? So if you don't hire me because this right here didn't align with this over here, we can't call racism. We can't call prejudice. We need to call it what it is. You're unprepared. And so when I try to call, and I want you to hear me clearly, when I try to call on career counselors at these HBCUs, presidents, the provosts, when I call on them and say, you can bring me into the school and I can speak to the young people, I can work with your career team, and they don't return my call, I get a little frustrated. As you remember Rip the Runway on BET? BET, right?
Yeah.
So I just want you to know that I ain't playing, I ain't lying, I'm not exaggerating, just telling the truth. Rip the Resume was a result of Rip the Runway. What I said was that I could travel around to the HBCUs that BET was going to, and when they having fun outside with the basketball, and you got the rapper and all that other good stuff, having a good time, the students that were interested can kind of filter over to the corner, and we can talk about career development. That's what you're going to school for, right? We want a degree and get a job and all that other good stuff, for most of us. BET said, you can attend and align with us if you pay us $250,000. That's what BET wanted for me. So when I tell you that sometimes getting the information you need is challenging, I'm giving you real examples. Today, right now, it is February 2018, just shy of 10 years of me saving Rip the Resume, and I've spoken on 3 HBCU campuses. There's 125 in the country. There's 5,200 plus schools in the country. I've spoken at 100 white schools. 100 plus 3 HBCUs. And I tell them every single time, I will run circles around your career center. Because there's nothing they know that I don't know. See, you all are reading out of a magazine, trying to align young people's resumes and interviews with what they want at Apple and Google and LinkedIn and Dropbox and Facebook and Groupon. You trying to tell me what they want, and I'm putting people in there every single day. So I'm mad at the HBCUs. I'm not mad at racism. Inside of the book, and I know Jamal purchased a few copies, and I'm certainly not here to sell the book, but I talk about something called the P2. Your personal brand, your professional brand. Personal brand, professional brand. And so I could have come this evening and wore what I wore earlier, which was jeans and boots and a shirt. Could have done that. But I said then, how would people take me if I'm talking about professional work? They may not necessarily take me as being as serious. So I had to flip the coin, and I said, this time I'll do the professional brand. Maybe next time I'll do a personal brand. But I wanted to make sure that you understood that I cared as much about the information as I want you to care. So I said, I'll suit up. You have to establish what that looks like. So what do you do right now, young man?
I'm in school in college.
College. What are you going to school for?
I want to be a doctor.
Doctor. What kind?
Neurosurgeon.
You going to take over housing and urban development when you're done?
Not at all.
Good. Smart. That was a little joke. It's a terrible joke, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about your brand right now while you are a collegiate student. So your GPA, your grades, what else is important? Communication. That would be ideal. My presentation. Not just my physical presentation, but when I turn in paperwork, my presentation. That's part of me establishing my brand. My assignments, everything that I do is my brand. Social media. You know, you on Instagram, Snapchat, all that. Your brand. So when Jamal says that your brand is important, everything is important as to who you are. I'm looking at all of it. So if you send me a resume, or you reach out to me for employment, I'm looking at everything. You have Instagram?
Yes.
When you set up your Instagram account, you use what?
My email account.
Email account. You got Snapchat?
No.
You got Facebook?
No.
You got Twitter?
Yes.
When you set it up, what'd you use?
Email account.
You got WhatsApp?
Yes.
When you set it up, what'd you use?
My phone account.
Email account. Give me your email address, I'm gonna find you. And if I don't have that, then I'm gonna get his cell phone number, and he's got some things aligned with his cell phone number. It's not you, it's the system. You gotta know the system. So your brand is everything. So you may think that it's fun to do it, and it may be, but I'm looking at everything. And so you start establishing that brand. Let me just help you all understand something real quick. Most important office on the collegiate campus is where? What's the most important piece of property, real estate, on that college campus? Career Center. It ain't marketing. It's not admin. It's not your dean or your professors. It's can they help you get a job? What else we got? Ex-felon. 70millionjobs.com. I gave that to you, right?
Yes, sir.
Had lunch 2 weeks ago in San Francisco. Anybody here seen the movie Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
Had lunch with the real Wolf of Wall Street. He started 70millionjobs.com. When you go to the site, starting in March, you're going to start doing a blog directing conversation to ex-felons, because he wants to hire 70 million ex-felons. But it's not gonna be easy to overcome being a felon. So you gotta get involved. You gotta work with your legislature and your local politicians and try to get them to ban the box. That's what I need you to do. Because we out here doing some lifting, but you gotta do some lifting too. And I need you to not try to do it by yourself, but to go find some other felons and get them involved in the process. And to not just get felons involved, but to get normal people like Kenny and others involved in the process. Kenny may not be associated with anything else, but he may have an affinity or a passion for that right there. Let's help people get employed. So I need you to step it up. What I said when I came, push you to do more. That's what I said, right? So I want to push you to do a little bit more. Getting a job is just one thing, that's easy. Challenging but easy. So number one, I want you to find out who is doing the hiring. Got it? And I want you to call them. And I want you to just say something really simple like this. Listen, I saw that you had a job posting up in the Farmville Times, whatever newspaper is. Got it? And I'm hoping that you'll be kind enough to give me your email address so that I can send you my resume. I want to express my interest in this opportunity. And I'm not one who goes against protocol. However, I don't want to be one of 400 people applying for the same job and you don't see how talented I am. Are you at liberty to share your email address? And if you give it to me, then I'm emailing my resume directly to you. If you don't, then I can go back to the keyboard and do what everybody else is doing. I'm not losing anything but about 4 or 5 minutes. 10. Pick up the phone. You're gonna get told no. It's gonna be a bit uncomfortable. But I can promise you, if you do it that way, you will change the trajectory of your job search. So you write down all of your skills, and you figure out what's transferable to trucking, so that we can make that education and investment worthwhile for you. But like the good brother behind you said, maybe it's about looking differently about the work that you are doing. So I wouldn't have known that, because I don't have that insight. So consider being a recruiter inside of the organization or in a similar or competing organization. Find the competitors. Who are the competitors to the company where you are right now? May not be that many down in this area. You may have to consider a longer commute. You may have to consider relocating. Then you put the family in the equation. But there are some things that we can do a little bit differently. We don't have to do it the same way every day in Farmville. I'm not trying to deplete the population. I'm just simply trying to make sure that you elevate and do what you feel you are deserving of. Receive what you feel you are deserving of. So you have to look at this entire situation a little bit differently. Not a keyboard, not a resume, shooting it out every morning. Do a skills inventory. What do I do and do exceptionally well? And what of that is transferable to trucking? What of that is transferable into recruiting now, since that's been put on the plate? What of that has been transferable to leadership? Maybe in another industry. It might not be cabinets. It could be building, like I said, cabinets. Whatever. But we got to figure out how we put that skills inventory together differently. Fair enough? We got to fortify that brand and we got to do it a little bit more. Fellas, we good? We good. Overqualified. You said that. I'll come back to it. All right? Too young. Write this down. Strategic mentor. And a mentor. Don't lift your pen up. I'm going to give you some more. Contribution. Knowledge. And conviction. Strategic mentor, contribution, knowledge, and conviction. Here's your plan. It's real simple. And all I want you to do when it's over, and I'm going to keep calling Jamal's name because he knows exactly why I'm doing this. All I want you to do when it's over, and when it's over, I'm going to put a timeline on it, and I'm going to tell you You will see a difference if you do what I tell you to do in the next 5 minutes. I want you to buy my book and give it to a homeless shelter, a woman's shelter, or a homeless shelter. That's what I want you to do. The book is $9. So how Jay-Z said, I'm putting y'all on game for $9.99, $1 million worth of game for $9.99. We're going to give you about $10,000 or $15,000 worth of game for $9.99. Strategic mentor. I want you to find someone in your organization in a totally different department to nurture and groom you. Find that individual. It's not the first person. Might be 3 people that it takes to get to them. Might be 5. But I want you to get a strategic mentor. They have to be in a totally different department or business unit. You understand why? Because I need you to operationally be a force inside of the business. Right now, what you know is your department. I need you to know the business. So the more of the business you know, we get to change that conversation when you go for a promotion. Fair enough? Strategic mentor. I need you to find one. If they're not inside of your organization, then I want you to find one outside of the organization in a similar industry. Fair enough? That's what I want. Strategic mentor. Get one. Then I want you to get a mentor. Someone in the business that you can trust and that will guide you and help develop you and motivate you and encourage you and fortify you, inoculate you. They will deposit into you. Both of them will make you a force inside of the business. Both of them will force you to start being curious. And so I said contribution. I need you the next time you go for an interview or for a raise or for a one-to-one, I want you to be able to really articulate what have you contributed to the business. Contribution. I want you to be able to speak to the knowledge of the business. So what's going on in the industry? What's happening in the landscape, the market? What are the threats to the business? What's the competition look like? What will technology do to the business? What will happen in 18 months in the business? What's going on across the United States in your business? Knowledge. Because if you can sit in front of me and have that type of a conversation, then I'm not looking at somebody who's been here for 20 years. I'm looking at somebody who understands they're going to keep me in business. This is a person that I need on my team. I need to elevate them, give them more responsibility. She has the view. She understands what's going on. These people are doing it the way they've been doing it. I need somebody who's got a broader view, a global view, a world view, a national view, a state view, and then maybe a local, regional view. But I need that person. So if you can show me in knowledge and in conversation that you have that, then you change the way your interview unfolds. You change your annual review. You change that monthly or quarterly one-to-one with your supervisor. Got it? And then you do it with conviction. All of my candidates go to the interview with an action plan. Nobody shows up with a resume. They go with action plans. My saying is really simple. Don't go to a job looking for work. Go to the job already having done the work. Inexperience, who said that?
I did.
You did. Tell me what that means.
The knowledge of not knowing how to go about something.
You're going to hear people saying you don't have experience. You can combat that now with an internship. So when you go to the Career Center tomorrow, Monday, you can look for a job, but you can also look for an internship. And you can do that with that strategy over there. What's my contribution? So my grades, papers that I've written, research papers that I've torn apart, collaborations that I've done with professors, volunteer time in the community. What have I contributed? All right, so racism, and I think that's everything on the board, and we can certainly talk about some other stuff. Good brother, you and I both know that racism exists, and it's alive and well. The only reason I challenged you in the beginning was just to have fun.
Yeah, also the overqualification.
Oh, that's right, you were out the room. Overqualification is hard to overcome, And there are small little things that will signal that. It could be college represented on the resume, so now we have to consider not putting graduation dates on the resume, and then in conjunction, picking up the phone, and then getting in front of them and trying to be able to, you know, massage that conversation.
Right.
Once we get there, I'm 50. So if I go and interview right now for someone, they're gonna look at the gray and all that. They ain't gonna be worried about, you know, this. They just gonna be worried about, oh, the guy, you know, he's older than, you know, the young lady right here, or these two young kings right here. So I don't know if I really wanna hire him. I think I wanna really invest in them for a lot of reasons. Salary, all that good stuff. You ain't gotta pay them as much. Family, they ain't got no issues. They don't have no children. He got children, babysitting, snow up, you know, all that stuff. So there's some challenges that we have to try to chop away at them in terms of overqualification. It's real. And what I thought you were going to say was more around ageism and overqualified. You didn't say that. You said something different. So it's cool. You overcame it. It's a challenge. We got to
Yeah,
deal
it was
with
a challenge. That's
it. It is a challenge. We got to deal with it. And as the workforce continues to shift, 2020, this young lady and you all are going to be the majority of the workforce. 50%, 60, you guys, and this young lady. So you were pushing us out. They want to hire you, but it's a whole lot of you. So you got to be even more prepared because it's a lot of you. Got it? All right, thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.